Now, speaking of value and, it's the right season, let's talk about how much it costs to be a Major League Baseball fan. If your intention is to go to the ballpark, well, you need to bust out your wallet. The average ticket price this year, around $30. That's just for the ticket, though. The average fan spends about $50 more on concessions, parking, and merch. So let's run some numbers. If you take in 5 games, you're looking at spending about $400 a year. Now, there is nothing like seeing a game in person, but for the fun of it, let's talk about what happens if somebody would have invested that money and, maybe stayed home to watch the games on TV instead.
Well, this is actually great because 3 weeks ago I was in St. Louis for opening day. There were 46,000 people there. After the game, those people didn't just get in their cars and go home. Those people were hanging out. There was all kinds of merchandise, hats, and a lot of adult beverages being spread around. Last weekend, I was in Chicago, and the Cubbies were in town. And unfortunately, I had other commitments, so I couldn't go to either one of those games. But, we're not saying don't necessarily pamper yourself and do these things, right. But I think it's very, very important to understand where all of your money is going, because if you're spending this kind of money, think about some of maybe your subscriptions that are automatically being taken off your charge card, that you're paying for that you may not even be using anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I know we all probably have those that we can be talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. Before the segment, we were just kind of talking about our weekend plans, and I'll be upfront and honest. I had my fiance took me for my first pedicure ever, and it was awesome. We had a great time.
Those are fun.
It was fun,
yeah.
Right? But as we're, I'm checking out, and it's like, okay, it's like $150. I'm like, wow, those are big time expenses. Not saying it's not totally worth it, but my takeaway or my point is, when you're estimating for retirement expenses, you want to try to be as accurate as possible, and make sure that you've got as much detail going into the plan, because good things in, good things out. So if we put good details into the plan, we're going to get a good output. But, those are some of the small expenses that I think can sometimes have a significant impact over time if they're not properly accounted for. So as you said, Scott, maybe it's not baseball or sports, but maybe it's dining out. I know those are sure. Big ones that when I'm walking through a financial plan and trying to, again, estimate those expected cash flows, are you packing lunches and cooking meals when you travel, or are you planning on going out a lot? So those are some things that you want to definitely take a look at. Your subscription services, I know, you can really run those up real quick and just not even know it. Cut cable, but then you have 6 other subscription services that actually sure. were more than cable. Unused gym memberships, some of those impulse, those fun buys, home expenses. Those are also things that, crop up often, properly estimating utilities, all those different, your internet and all those different expenses. So I think my takeaway would be when we're doing a financial plan, either, know very accurately what you're planning on spending, at least the basics. We're not expecting you to know what expenses for emergencies are going to come up, or unforeseen travel expenses, or any other hobbies that you maybe don't have yet. If you don't exactly know what, or don't want to go through the exercise of detailing out every single item that you spend, a real quick rule of thumb that I typically give people is take your pre-retirement income, subtract from it the percent that you pay for Social Security taxes, which is about 7.65% up to a certain level. Take from that figure your retirement savings, and then any mortgage payments, just the principal and interest, not the taxes and insurance. But you subtract from that, and that's pretty much what you're paying and what you're spending in retirement. That's your replacement income, what we call.
Yeah, I'd say, what's been real beneficial for me is my family and I, we use the financial planning software that we talk with a lot of our clients about. That software is called Right Capital. It just helps you really kind of get a plan together in place. And, planning is going to be the best solution here to figure out, are those smaller expenses going to have a big impact on your retirement? And, if you could shift some dollars from here to there, I think is a good way to do that. If you're not using financial planning to aggregate your account information, what I like is it can log into my credit cards. It can pull that information. Your credit cards, you could take a look at that, look at where you're spending your money. What my wife and we do is every 6 months, we'll take a look at what those expenses are, because you're right. Some of those subscription-based models, they really, start out as small expenses, but they have a big impact on retirement. I switched recently to the streaming with my cable service, and it did go down. But you're correct. I mean, I have some of the other subscriptions that go along with it, and I was asking my wife the other day, well, I don't watch that channel. Who's watching that channel? She's like, we're not getting rid of that channel. Both your kids use that, and his girlfriend uses it. So, yeah, just know that every dollar counts. Know what you're spending. Know that our planning software, Right Capital, can kind of help you look at that. Look at those subscription-based models, which is what society has gone to in the last 10 years, and figure out which of those you can reduce and or eliminate, and figure out where you're wasting money. Taking a couple of minutes is such a rewarding task to go through and figure out, I saved some money here, I saved some money there, I saved some money
Absolutely.
there. Maybe put half of that money back towards your financial future, and take the half the money and go to the next ball game, and enjoy life, because nothing's promised for the future. It's a matter of balance that all together. So again, everything leads towards back of doing an analysis, taking a look, and then figuring out a plan to make sure that you can get things implemented.
It's funny. I would be curious to hear really quick. I know we're coming up to the end of the show here, but when you're sitting with the client and you ask them, what are your monthly expenses? How many of them really say, well, I go get my hair done and I go to the, get my nails done and that? It's kind of like, when I used to write a lot of life insurance before, how's your health? I'm healthy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And they say, well, I'm on 4 medicines. Well, okay, you're healthy, but you're only healthy because you're on these medicines, right? So in any case, yeah, watch your P's and Q's, and any of these little extra expenses that you're putting out there, maybe double check them.
Nolan Baker, not just talking the talk here on the show, but walking the walk as well, doing the financial planning for himself and his own family. We're not saying here that you should not enjoy yourself in retirement. If you want to go to a ball game here and there, that is, you're right. You've spent all these years working. You should certainly be able to reap the fruits of your labor, but make sure you know the actual cost and, decide again if it is of value to you. If you need help with that, if you want to sit down and see, what that could be down the line, the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, always here for you. All you have to do to get started, give a call, 419-794-3030, or go to the website, arhq.com. And we genuinely do appreciate you taking time out of your week to spend with us here on the show. Hopefully you found something here of value when you're ready to have that conversation one more time, 419-794-3030. And we hope you have a great week. Hope you have a safe week out there. And guys, appreciate your time as well. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with the final word.
Yeah, great quote from John Beckley, and that most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So have a great week, folks. We'll see you back same time, same channel, right here on Toledo's largest talk station, 1370 WSPD. And just remember, when you think retirement, think America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates.